Run your day with Runday.ai.
John, hello. Happy Tuesday. How are you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale, and I hear you're not too far away.
Yeah, we're right just around the corner. So,
What
yeah.
part of town are you in?
I'm in the Hollywood area.
Well, I lived there at the Radius when I first came to Florida.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the best kept secret in South Florida because it's
There you
still
go.
not as popular as the rest of the places, and there's not a lot of, kind of wild things going on. So I love it.
Kind of
I
the
love it down
edge of
here.
Broward, right? So it's like after
Yeah.
that, you get in Dade County.
hmm Yeah, it's right there on the edge between Dade and Broward.
It's
Yeah.
a little bit wilder in Dade.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can say that again. Yeah.
Well, tell me more about the business and what you're doing for your customers.
Yeah, so we're an MSP, which is a managed services provider for car dealerships, and we do really all systems integration. So cybersecurity, data, systems alignment, some systemic alignment that we do in the organization. Dealerships in the US are they like to call themselves car companies, but they're not. They're technology
Mm-hmm.
companies that just happen to sell
Mm-hmm.
cars. One of our
Mm-hmm.
CMO,
That's an interesting take.
yeah, Jeannie Reidelback talks about it. Is like there's these kind of legacy siloed systems that are not talking to each other. And so our job is to really give that 30,000-foot visibility and get out of that whack-a-mole of running the business day to day. So we do that through the use of technology and knowing our vertical really well and being kind of the plumbers of the industry.
And how did this all get started? What is your origin story for the business?
Uh, so in 2011, my business partner, his name is Abel Viamontes, was a field technician for ADP. Used to be big in the ADP, right? The
Yeah, yeah,
automatic data processing, the guys that do the paychecks.
yeah, yeah.
Used to
Payrolls.
have a big division that used to do dealer services, and they sold that off in, I think, 2013. And he used to be a field technician for ADP and said, "Hey, I want to start my own thing," and kind of left there and started his own business. And I was on the dealer side, and he was one of we were one of his customers. And that project with that group wrapped up, and he asked me like, "Hey, you want to come on board and help grow the company?" So I invested a little bit of money and jumped in, and now, man, I think I'm running on year 12. Been the CEO since 2019, and then just kind of growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing the business. Yeah.
What were you doing for your initial customers?
Mainly break fix MSP. We didn't know what an MSP was. Like, we didn't even know what the term MSP was. So it was just kind of a couple guys with backpacks running around trying to fix things. And then we got a ticketing system, and then we got
So it was more hardware and infrastructure at first?
yeah, we were
Okay.
doing a lot of Citrix VDI. We were in
Yeah, okay.
the
Yeah,
virtualization
yeah.
side, and we were kind of the first people that figured out how to do CDK printing in a virtual environment, right? And so we had our own data center. It was beautiful. It was like this massive endeavor that we did, and then figured out that the VDI model doesn't work for dealerships. So went try to go down into simplifying and make it super redundant and make it accessible for dealers out there. They're very price sensitive, so we want to make sure that we're complying with that piece.
And then what are you doing for these dealerships now that we're
Sorry,
entering
you
the
can hear
age of
my
AI?
sorry, my this guy's barking in the background. One second. Sorry, I got a new puppy and he's very vocal. One second. Sorry.
They're the best, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. They're great dogs. They're very they're very persistent and have kind of these huge personalities. But anyways, you were asking me about AI?
Yeah, let me ask it again. So what were you doing for your initial customers?
So we were really just doing really break fix, right? We're doing the infrastructure, networking, firewalls, Wi-Fi, just basic networking, right? Or basic IT support. So if somebody couldn't print from a CDK printer, they couldn't print on the last Saturday of the month, we were able to fix those things either remotely, and we kind of grew those capabilities throughout the years, grew the capabilities of really understanding it. And our business model has always been to really understand the dealership vertical. So we're not trying to figure out what software they're using. We're not trying to figure out, what the end of the month means to the finance department. We're not trying to figure out what the beginning of the month means to the accounting department. So, and then because I'm in the industry, because I'm part of this monster, we really understand what services and products work for the right people at the right time, at the right arc where they are in the maturity model that they are in the dealership. So that one is really big. That's the piece that we really have matured into to really understand the business, and that's where the verticalization of our business comes from.
And how are you seeing things shifting now that we're entering the age of AI?
Can you ask that one more time? I'm sorry.
And then how are you seeing things shifting as we're entering the age of AI?
So one of the things that we've seen is that there's a positive and there's a negative. The positive side is that everybody's vibe coding, or excuse me, the negative side is that everybody's vibe coding, right?
There
That
you
everybody's kind of
go.
connecting. Yeah, they're
I
connecting
wasn't sure.
their
Is that good or bad?
yeah. So everybody's vibe coding, and they're kind of connecting things that they're not supposed to be connecting, and they're connecting their email, and they're connecting their CRM, and they're connecting. And one of the things that there's another side of our business that I'll get into is protecting that PII. And you're giving the average user nuclear weapons. That's how we look at AI, right? It's really powerful, it's amazing, but it's nuclear power. Like, you got to be careful with it. And if it spills into the river or spills into some densely populated area, you're going to have a massive problem. And that's what the CRM getting connected to some of these, models look like. So somebody in some salesperson that's very eager can suddenly pull out some information and say they're going to upload an Excel spreadsheet into Claude, and then suddenly you have a data breach, right? That's the piece that we're very concerned about. The piece that we're really excited about is that mental real estate that gets taken up by mundane tasks on a regular basis
Hmm.
gets freed up to create authentic connection with human beings. That's the part that I'm most excited about. I'm a human alignment person, right? That's what my job is. That's what my job is, to create systemic alignment in an organization. And I think AI is a great tool to do that. Rather than having people do mundane tasks that are repetitive, they're non-revenue generating tasks, automate all of that stuff and then create authentic human connections and do that as fast as possible, right? That's the positive side that I'm seeing on with AI. Like, you, the ability to create a checklist, the ability to create a guide, the ability to transcribe a call and then make next steps and create best practices out of that. The ability to take every single conversation that you've ever had and to find out the tonality and the texture of an organization has never become easier.
Where are you seeing this having the most impact? Is it more the mentorship of the maybe the salesperson in the dealership, or the connection with the customer, or is it in the service side?
So that's a great question. The piece that we're seeing the most, and this has been happening for a couple years, is that MIT article of like 95% of AI companies fail to provide ROI because it's pointing in the right and wrong direction, right? They're pointing
Yeah.
customer facing. And I'm like, don't point it towards the customer, point it towards the back end to organize the data and find the patterns in it. That's the piece that we see the most value in it, is to find the freakonomics in the data that you could potentially uncover. There's gold in there that you never knew, that a guy named Bob is 4% more probable to buy a red car over somebody named Steve. Those kind of
Hmm.
weird correlations that you would never see. I think that's a massive opportunity organizationally for our industry. The piece that we do see, and they've been doing that for a while, is like service advisors when they're writing or technicians when they're writing the story.
Yeah, yeah.
Traditionally was like brakes bad, right? Brakes,
It's been a
brakes
nightmare
bad,
lately.
right?
Yeah.
And to expand that into a customer, we inspected the rotors and we took the wheels off, and the kind of the heavier description of what that is. So the customer's not, they get a little bit of context, and that curse of knowledge, it kind of combats a little bit that curse of knowledge. Just explain this at a sixth grade level for a customer that's non-technical, what we did to your car. And so that creates a little bit of context on that front, which I think is that's the good part. And then the other part is doing a bit of the financial analytics, what that's going to look
Hmm.
like in the future. And we're partnered with a company called Automotive, and we're their IT and cybersecurity partners. And they have this thing called the Expert, right? So it's not the model that they're bringing into your data. It's a dealer data platform. So it takes your DMS data, your CRM data. DMS is dealer management system. Your CRM data, your inventory management system, your key system, maybe your collision center, your Google Analytics, and puts it into one platform. That's revolutionary for the automotive space. But now it has a little agentic, you know, bot that is trained on your data and that's cut off from the internet, right? So it's just trained on your data. You're not gonna it's not gonna give you the meaning of life, but you're gonna say what's my front end gross in the last 6 months and who's my highest grossing salesperson, and it's
What's most
trained on
relevant
your
right now?
yeah, what's relevant for you, and then you can say, I'm going to add my employee manual in there, and I'm going to add my FMLA, and I'm going to add my um, request uniforms form in there, and then I'm going to add SOPs in there. So you can literally ask your own instance of this small agentic model how to use what's the right way to open a business development center or close it down or set an appointment with a customer or set whatever that looks like. So that's the piece that I'm really excited about and how we're starting to see this being used. It's about set and setting in the dealership space um rather than it being just like this shotgun effect and trying to put it in everything and everywhere.
If somebody in the audience wants to really get access to these types of insights while fortifying their dealerships, what's the best way to work with you? Should they go to the website and just do contact us or connect with you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I'm a believer of kind of the Alex Hormozy approach, is like give everything out, and the people that want to work with you will work with you. I host a podcast called Dealer Tech Tuesdays. A lot of the information is there. We invite everybody to get on Clubhouse on all things car biz. It's a room on Clubhouse where every morning at 6:45 in the morning till 9 a.m. we're talking about the car business, about blocking and tackling in the car business and sharpening our knives, but also to reach me directly, you can go to our website or reach us at tech@vtechdealerit.com or call us at 1-888-510-2060. That's our help desk number, and you can call for me and I'll be happy to connect.